Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol is set for May the 7th, 2022, likely in the T-Mobile Arena. It's going to be on the Zone here in the States on pay-per-view. On pay-per-view. I don't really know how I feel about that because it's like, all right, you pay for Canelo, but see, they shouldn't have went so hard on, you know, pay-per-view is dead, pay-per-view is dead. That's what's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way because they really were doing like marketing campaigns of like, listen, you know, like they was breaking VCRs and cable boxes with sludge hammers and shit. Y'all remember that? You know, where they had like the glass room and they made Ryan Garcia dress up like in like a, you know, like bodysuit with the glasses on. And they made him go into, you know, with a big ass sledgehammer and start smashing TVs and VCRs and shit. You know, pay-per-view is dead. Pay-per-view is dead. Kind of like PBC with the free boxing for all shit. It's like, yo, whatever happened to that shit? So it's supposed to be if you have the Zone subscription, which I've never given them $100 again. And I do admit, for the first 2 years of the Zone, I was a beta tester. You know, had some friends over there and I, you know, like I was getting the shit for free. But I'm not no more, you know, and I was never shilling and I'm not going to shill. I do pay my $20 a month, but they will never get a full flat $100 from me again from that shit they pulled on COVID. And let me tell you what they do. They've unpaused my subscription multiple times and still charge my EBT card, my food stamp card. It wasn't a food stamp card. But yeah, they still charge my card. It's like, bro, like y'all thirsty as shit. Because remember what they did during COVID? They were still charging people and giving people a hassle to end their subscriptions, but it wasn't no fights. Like, and they just acting like it wasn't going on. Like, there was some bullshit. So, Canelo versus Bivol is supposed to be $60 if you're a subscriber. But if you're not a subscriber, $80. Now, Canelo fights have been on pay-per-view when he's fought on the Zone. For example, Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo versus Callum Smith were both on pay-per-view if you didn't have a subscription. So you were able to watch Canelo fights through the Zone on your cable box, at least I know here, for Verizon Fios, the Dish, DirecTV, and Xfinity Comcast. You know, if you didn't have the Zone subscription, you were paying, you know, for pay-per-view. Over in the UK, they're going to be getting it through their regular The Zone subscription. Now, understand the, how can I say, the landscape of boxing on social media, and especially on YouTube, is a real toxic place. You know, it's like, how can I say, there's a lot of motives and shit, you know, and alliances. And when you watch other people's content, you know exactly what I'm talking about. To where there's two sides. That's like if you're either with PBC or you're against it. Now, me personally, I've been lobbying for Canelo versus Charlo for years. And I was real pissed off when they did the whole franchise bullshit to Jamal, you know, and he wasn't able to get his shot because he was mandatory. And then, you know, he was made franchise champion. Now, if he were to fight Canelo, it was supposed to be a 2-fight deal. Him fight Canelo. Charlo versus Canelo, and then the winner of Charlo versus Canelo, if it's Canelo, fights David Benavidez, David Lemieux winner. David Benavidez and David Lemieux is still in the works. They can be announced any day now for May or April in Phoenix. Steven Espinoza did an interview earlier with Fight Hub, you know, pretty much confirming, you know, that it was a very lucrative deal. You know, he was saying something that basically it was a better deal than what the Zone was giving him. And it makes you wonder, why didn't Canelo take the deal? Now, more news has come out that Canelo is in a multi-fight deal with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, and it's going to be 3 fights. One in the Bivol fight, May the 7th. Golovkin is in September. If Golovkin beats Ryota Murata for the WBA Super and IBF titles, they're still waiting on a new date for that. That was supposed to happen in April, but When was it supposed to happen? It wasn't in April. I forgot. Well, anyway, COVID or whatever and restrictions, stopped the fight from happening. And it's a lot of money in that fight over in Asian territories. So if Golovkin beats Murata, then we're supposed to have Canelo versus Golovkin 3. If Canelo beats Bivol at 175, Canelo would move back down to 168 to defend his undisputed titles against Golovkin, who will be moving up to 168 pounds. And my guess is if Canelo were to beat Bivol at 175, then move down, beat Golovkin at 168, I believe that third fight in December would be John Ryder in the UK. That's what I believe. Do I feel that Bivol has a chance? Yes, I do. Because when you look at the resume of Canelo, you got Mayweather, who he lost to, Erislandy Lara, who he beat by the skin of his nuts, and that was a young Canelo. And you have Golovkin. Golovkin is a boxer with a very good jab, but Bivol is a technician. I don't see Bivol going out there making stupid mistakes. And see, this has been a detriment to Bivol, and was one of the reasons why I didn't think he was going to get the fight, is because he can be pretty, what some fans would say is boring. So, oh, and by the way, before we move on, Joe Smith and Artur Beterbiev for the WBC, IBF, and WBO, they're going to be fighting in June or so, according to Bob Arum. And that would only mean Canelo could be undisputed in 2 fights at 175. Bivol and fight the winner of that fight. If it is in December, that is an option too. So back to what I was saying. Let me pull up Canelo's resume. Did they put him up yet? Like, Bivol is good. But the thing is, you always want him when you're watching his fights, like he's missing a third gear. Like, it's like, where's that extra gear, And in the Canelo fight, I think that can help him, his patience. I think that he can provide a more competitive fight than Charlo, even though I wanted the Charlo fight. But I think he can provide a more competitive fight. Because when you look at, Billy Joe Saunders was supposed to be the boxer. He was supposed to be the slick mover. But I can't say Billy Joe Saunders is a better technician than Bivol. Caleb Plant, I'm going to say it again, and I hate to keep saying it like this, but I never had faith in Caleb Plant. I never had faith in him. I watched his rise, and I was like, this shit's all smoke and mirrors. Caleb Truax and Vincent Fegan boots. That shit was all smoke and mirrors to me. Callum Smith, he just was completely neutralized, but I don't see Callum Smith having the tools the tools and the technical ability that Bivol has. Well, Sergey Kovalev is a no-good woman-beating drunk, so let's just move on to him. From him, he moved up the cruiserweight. Danny Jacobs, very, very good fight, but he can be considered somewhat of a brawler boxer, but not a better technician than Dimitri Bivol. Rocky Fielding, this was Canelo testing the waters at 168, the Golovkin fights. Chavez Jr., he just was there to make weight, and, that was it. Liam Smith, when, Canelo was saying he couldn't fight Golovkin because he was too, small, but then moved all the way up to 164.5 to take on Chavez Jr. Amir Khan had no business fighting Canelo in the first place. Miguel Cotto, pretty long in the tooth, but Miguel Cotto's run, anything above 147 to me, I was never really into Miguel Cotto. I know there's going to be some slander and people are going to get pissed off. But when you look at it, the only real technician that he's got to win over that's somewhere on the level of a Bivol, to me, in my opinion, is Lara. And that's what I think can happen. I think that Dimitri Bivol can win on points against Canelo. Now, we do need to know some details, though, because they like to try to keep this shit a secret. Is there going to be a rehydration clause? Is there some type of catchweight? Because remember, at one point in time, Bivol said he was willing to go down to 168 to fight Canelo. Fighters don't forget shit like that. So is it going to be at 170? I don't think we have all the details yet. I really want this fight to be fully at 175 pounds. I hope there's no rehydration clauses, none of that bullshit. I hope not, man. I hope not. Let's see, article from Copinger. Let me zoom in a little bit, see if there's any details I missed.
How dare you?
How dare you? What up? I don't know how to pronounce your name, bro. I always forget how to pronounce it. I hate the GGG fight. Canelo erases the first 2 fights with a savage KO. And that's all people remember is Marquez Pacquiao 4 all over again. Listen, man, let's see how Golovkin looks against Murata first. Because I don't know, man. Golovkin seemed like he'd been 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And yeah, he's going to be 40 this year, right? Let me check real quick how old Golovkin's going to be. I think he's going to be 40 this year. 40 in April. April the 8th, Golovkin's going to be 40. Now, even though 40 is not as old as it used to be, but against Sergey Derevyanchenko, yo, it's like, listen, a lot of people may think that he lost that fight. But yeah, according to hey, let me pull his tweet up real quick. According to ESPN's Mike Copinger, Canelo's supposed to be making, you know, $160 million this year from Matchroom in the Zone for a 3-fight deal. Where is it at? Sources: Canelo Alvarez manager trainer Reynoso are also planning a 3rd fight with Matchroom that will take place in December. The 3-fight plan with the Zone is worth $160 million. Jeez. Jeez. The other package was presented to Alvarez came from PBC. Al Heyman offered Alvarez a 1-fight deal worth upward of $45 million for the May 7th defense of his undisputed super middleweight championships against Jamal Charlo. Another PBC offer extended to Alvarez, 31, was 2 fights and more than $100 million for a May fight with Charlo and a September fight with David Benavidez. Maybe that's why Eddie Hearn hasn't been able to win these purse bids. You know, he's been saving that money up for Canelo. Shit. So that's my take on it. I'm going to get up out of here because I got a busy day with boxing tomorrow. And also, I got to go check on my crock pot chicken noodle soup and walk my dog. Take a time out, like the video, subscribe. I am going to be here tomorrow morning, and the main event... Let me put this link up to this card I'm watching. The main event for this Kamad Islam versus whoever this guy is he's fighting. That main event is, they're in the ring right now. Here is the card that I'm watching for those who want to watch some boxing. This is live. Yeah, I'm watching this now. Yeah, I'm going to watch that now. Here's the link to that. If anybody wants to watch some boxing after I bounce. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will be seeing you guys tomorrow as I'm going to be covering a shitload of fights.